Good day, everyone. Thank you for being here. For those who don't know us, my name is Mrs. Rolanie G. Guevarra, and my partner is Mr. Kepler G. Guevarra. And for those who know us, hello again. In this presentation, we will discuss Chapter 3, entitled Social Literacy. Objectives. At the end of this chapter, you should be able to develop understanding of working definition of social literacy. Explain the roles of parents and teachers in teaching social skills to children and discuss and examine issues in social literacy.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kepler G. Guevarra, assigned to report the social literacy. So, do you have any idea what is social literacy? So, social literacy is a student's successful performance and understanding of social skills, organizational skills, and communication skills. It is the student's ability to connect effectively with those around them. Social literacy spans interacting with peers, family, co-workers, teachers, and even people we may not have met face to face. Social literacy concerns itself with the development of social skills, knowledge, and positive human values that enable human beings to act positively and responsibly in range of complex social settings. It is the knowledge of how to behave and treat other people in a way that is, number one, morally upright. Next one is the just. And the last is equitable. So, with a view of promoting positive and productive relations that are free from unfair prejudices, hate, and discrimination, these three descriptions will be explained below. By morally upright, we refer to thoughts, speech, actions, and motivation adhere to a standard or right and wrong. So, morally upright is doing a righteous things or do good things. Because of the things you did, you morally upright or you uphold your moral. On the other hand, just refers to speech, actions, and behaviors that are in line with a fixed standard of justice. A system that promotes and rewards good and at the same time punishes wrongdoing. Any system of justice, whether national, regional, or local, requires a body of rules or laws by which to measure and administer rewards and punishment. Equitable are the speech, actions, behaviors, and decisions that treat others fairly, regardless of background or circumstances, not to be confused with equality, which connotes a fixed standard of treatment for all people. Equity seeks the good of others and labors to find means by which everyone gets what they need, rather than simply everyone gets the same thing in the same amount. By Arthur Davidson and Stowe 2000. Peers and schools plays a formative role on the social skills development of children. These social skills are often expressed as consisting of three unrelated components: social perception, social cognition, and social performance. Increasing emphasis has been placed on the last component, particularly in terms of outcomes. Social skill is defined in literature as the ability to interact with others in a given social context in specific ways that are socially acceptable or valued at the same time personally beneficial, mutually beneficial, and primarily beneficial to others. So, how has social literacy changed over time? In the past, social literacy was understood as a student's ability to communicate in social settings. This definition broadened and continues to broaden into more and more social realms. Over time, and especially recently, social settings are changing from just a face-to-face environment for students to competently interact socially and communicate effectively includes a newer and very present role in the internet. So here's the way to incorporate social literacy online. So number one, blogging. Second one is video conferencing. We have here class website and social networking. So ways to incorporate social literacy in a face-to-face environment. So we have here group projects, peer viewing, field trips. So that's the ways to incorporate social literacy. There are several types of social skills that must be mastered for a child to be socially adept. These range from the ability to initiate, maintain, and end a conversation to reading social signals to more complex skills such as solving problems and resolving conflicts by Lesson 2003. The following examples represent some of the fundamental principles of relating well to others. Children with social skill deficits can be taught these skills directly by parents, teachers, and other professionals, using the strategies of modeling, role-playing, rehearsal, and practice. So now we will discuss the types of social skills. Number one is greeting. Children develop relationships with peers by interacting with them. The first step in a social interaction is greeting someone. Greeting others is done not only with words like hi or how are you, but with facial expressions, tone of voice, and gestures such as a nod or a wave. The nonverbal part of greeting someone is just as important as the words. It is not so much what one says, but how he or she says it that lets people know he or she is glad to see them. Number two, initiating conversation. In order to carry on a conversation, a child must be able to initiate, maintain, and close conversation appropriately. This requires good listening and attention skills, as well as the ability to take turns and probe for missing information. Being a good conversationalist requires turn-taking and reciprocity. Children have to listen as well as talk. If they do not show an interest in what the other person has to say, they probably will not be interested in talking. Impulsive children often have trouble knowing when to talk and when to listen. Number three, understanding the listener. Once a conversation is initiated, it has to be maintained. In order to do that, it is important to understand the audience one is talking to. A socially adept child quickly and unconsciously identifies and categorizes his listener, measures what he or she has planned to say against the anticipated response of the listener, and then proceeds, alters, or avoids what she has planned to say. He or she knows that talking to authority figures is not done in the same way when talking to peers. A misread of a listener often leads to a misunderstood message and potential social rejection. To converse in a social appropriate manner, children must be able to take the perspective or point of view of the other person. Think the way they think. To do this, a child must pretend that he or she is the listener and think about what he or she needs to hear to understand what is being said. Number 4, empathizing. Empathy is more than perspective taking. It means that one is able to feel what the other person feels. Empathy allows one to really connect with other people. Other children often think of children who lack empathy as mean, unkind, or self-centered. Number 5, we have reading social cues. It is very important to read social cues in a conversation. Cues are the hints and signals that guide us to the next thing to say or do. Social cues can be verbal or non-verbal. Verbal cues are the words that the other person is saying. Tone of voice is an important part of verbal cues. Good detectives pay very close attention to non-verbal cues. Number 6. Previewing or planning. Conversations also require that one previews or thinks about what effect the words or actions may have on the listener before she says or does them. If the impact will be negative, one can adjust what she might say or do. Number 7, problem solving. Problems and conflict are often a part of social interactions. Someone may not agree, get angry, insult, or become aggressive at something that one says. How one reacts to this conflict depends on how good her problem-solving skills are. Conflicts cannot be avoided and are often necessary to clear the air. Turning a conflict from a win or lose situation to a win-win situation is the best way to resolve conflict. This requires negotiation and compromise. Give and take that results in a situation where all parties can live with and help maintain friendships. The last but not the least, apologizing. Everyone makes social mistakes at one time or another. A person with good social skills is confident enough to make a sincere apology for her error. This is a courageous act and is the quickest and easiest way to correct a social blunder. In reality, other people usually have a higher opinion of someone who apologizes for making a mistake. Apologizing is a sign of humble and mature character when one commits mistakes.
Next to present the role of parents and teachers in teaching social skills to children. School, teachers, and parents play a vital role in holistic development of the child. Parents are the first mentor of the child and the teacher is the second. Both have an immense contribution and responsibility in shaping a child's personality. Parents typically play the major role in teaching children social skills. Parents can directly teach social skills by modeling, role playing, and providing opportunities for their child to rehearse and practice new skills. Professionals typically intervene only when children are having substantial social difficulty with peers. Role of parents. Parents are the child's first role model. Yeah, of course. Children behave, react, and imitate same as their parents. Parents play important role in encouraging and motivating their kids to learn. Good parental support helps child to be positive, healthy, and a good lifelong learner. Children acquire skills at the very early stage of their life if the parents are responsive and understanding. School is the place where children spend the majority of their time with peers. It is, therefore, a natural and perfect setting for children to learn and practice social skills. While teachers do not have to teach a class in a social skills, they can take advantage of every opportunities to help children improve their social skills. So, role of teacher. Major challenges for teachers are to nurture children's learning and give him various experiences to face this challenging world. She molds the child to be responsible and independent learner. Teacher is the first person from whom child learn his social skills in school. Teacher make him comfortable and guide him the early concept and developmental skills of life. Open-minded, well-balanced, and a planned teacher has a great power to bring a positive change in the child's development. As the child grows and develops mastery in different skills, teachers become a real guide in nurturing his interests and learning to make him more independent. They should be alert to teasing and bullying and aware of children that are rejected or ignored by their peers. They should work cooperatively with the children's parents to prevent the humiliation, embarrassment, and the distress that befall these children. Pairing a socially inept child with a socially adept one involving children in cooperative instead of competitive learning exercises. Identifying and acknowledging the strengths of all children, understanding social weaknesses, and creating an environment in which diversity is accepted and celebrated can greatly enhance all children's social abilities, sense of belongingness, and self-esteem, not just in the classroom, but in life as well. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends the parents use a four parts strategy when helping their children develop social skills. Number one, practice. A parent can help a child substitute a specific appropriate response for a specific inappropriate one. This might mean brainstorming with a child about different alternative responses and then practicing one or more with the child. Practicing Practicing can involve mapping out actual words to say or behaviors to use, role playing and using the newly learned skills in real situations. Number two, praise. So how we praise our child. Often, children are not eager to work on new skills, so parents must reward their children with praise with the new skills are practiced as in you helping the skills become habits. This might be a specific verbal statement. You did an awesome job of do instead of why when you got angry at the store? So a nonverbal sign as a thumbs up or even a treat 10 minutes extra fun time before bedtime. So that's what we call praise. So number three, point out. So parents can use opportunities to point out when others are using the desired skills. It might be a specific behavior of the parent, another adult, a child, or even a character in a book or on TV. The idea is to give children examples and role models of people engaging in the appropriate social skill. The last one, we have prompt. Without nagging, parents can gently remind their child to use a new skill when the opportunity arises. This might be verbal. Example, now might be a good time to count to 10 in your head. Or nonverbal, a nonverbal cue such as zipping the lips when a child is about to interrupt. So yun yung tinatawag na prompt. So now, children tend to fall into four basic social categories in the social setting. So, please listen to me kasi hindi ko po ito nilagay dito sa PowerPoint. So, these are rejected, isolated, controversial, and popular. Itong apat na to is children tend to fall into four basic social categories in the school setting. Number one, rejected. So rejected, students who are consistently subjected to ridicule, bullying, and harassment by a classmate. Rejected. Number two, isolated. Students who, although not openly rejected, are ignored by classmates and are uninvolved in the social aspect of school. 3. Controversial. Students who have established a circle of friends based upon common interests of proximity but seldom move beyond that circle. Lost, popular. Students who have successfully established positive relationship with a variety of groups. Issues in teaching social literacy. In regards to education, social literacy also aims to help students acquire the skills needed to comprehend the various social phenomena, events, and rapid changes our modern society experiences, and how these things impact students' day-to-day lives. Social literacy aims to appeal to student interests and needs. How children develop their social literacy is increasingly a contextual matter and it's not something that can be easily traced in a linear or developmental fashion. The acquisition of the social literacy is a complex process that is historically and culturally conditioned and context-specific. Children learn through social practices, both explicit and implicit, and become human through social interaction. Nevertheless, it is also the case that children engage in a social activity before they are taught it. In other words, children are disposed to be social before they learn what sociability is all about. There are two distinct ways of answering the question on how children learn to live socially with each other and with adults. The first view is normative and communal, and the second one is a pragmatic and individualistic. Normative and communal. From their culture, children learn customs that provide them with a guide to act in ways that minimize conflict. Children are persuaded of the moral force of acting socially through their voluntary association with others, both in their immediate circle, such as the family, and in the wider community. For example, through membership of a church or a club, the child in this normative view will not only know the correct behavior, but will perform the role without any need for regular conscious reference to the rules governing it, that is normative and communal. And for pragmatic and individualistic, the social order of children is created by explicit and implicit agreements entered into by self-seeking individuals to avert the worst consequences of their selfish instinct. That is according to Arthur Davidson and Stowe 2000. Social order is dependent on sanction and formal agreements. Rules are obeyed because they confer personal advantage on a child. Teaching social literacy in school is not uneasy, or is not as easy as it appears to be due to subjective standards of morality and inherent human capacity to judge and make excuses. Subjective standards of morality. The natural outcome of postmodern philosophy is that truth and morality are considered subjective and open to individual interpretation. This can be seen in the current culture, where actions and behavior patterns that were once considered bad have now become acceptable, so much so that many now consider them to be even good. When the standard of measure between good and bad changes, this gives us license to change as well and opens the gates to all kinds of abuse. This, in effect, pulls the rug out from under any all attempts at true justice and equitability, since they themselves rely on a fixed moral standards. So interestingly, many of those who insist on a subjective moral standard will be the first to demand for a fixed moral standard when they themselves fall victim to a subjective morality's inevitable outcome. So it is the belief that moral principles and values are dependent on the individual's opinions, personal beliefs, cultural norms, and societal context. In this view, what is considered right or wrong so vary from person to person and culture to culture. Next is human nature. While we would all like to believe that people are inherently good, experience has taught us that the inherent goodness of humanity is at best unreliable. Sometimes it is there, often it is not. We are quick to champion the cause of moral uprightness, justice, and equity, but balk when our words and actions come under scrutiny. In other words, we insist that others be judged according to a fixed moral standard, but invoke a subjective one when our own behavior is questioned. We demand justice when we perceive ourselves to be victims of wrongdoing, but we surrounded ourselves with excuses when we do wrong. We insist that others treat us equitably, but are reluctant when treating others with equity costs more than we expected. Today's students have grown up with the internet that they have become inseparable from their gadgets. So according to Blake 2017, offers helpful reminders to young professionals in terms of social skills in the modern age. This situation underscores the importance of educating students in what could be called social literacy to ensure their academic and career success. Situational awareness in the workplace. While casual office attire has become the norm in many offices, job interviews typically require more formal dress and behavior to demonstrate a level of respect. Stories prevail of young adults showing up the interviews in casual clothing, texting or using phones during job interviews, or even bringing their parents with them. Such behavior demonstrates a lack of situational awareness about what is appropriate to do in different social circumstances. While college classroom or actual office atmosphere may allow for a more casual dress code, students need to be taught what is socially acceptable in terms of dress or behavior for them to stand out above their colleagues. An ability to read social situation illustrates strength to employers, quickly picking up on a client's mood or expectation in a various business and cross-cultural situation can be the difference between success and failures. Social intelligence in technological communication. Text speak and technology use have affected many young people's ability to communicate, while email has deformalized much of the communication process. Students still need to ensure their writing denotes respect and provides enough context for professor or future employers to readily respond. In addition, text-speak has reduced student ability to communicate using correct grammar. Through, through studying particular communication genres and what they demand, students can learn more about what individual situation demand in terms of the formality of communication. For example, if a professor signed an email with Dr. Smith, this is a fairly good indication that he expects to be addressed as such and not informally by his first name. Mm. Next, social intelligence in traditional communication. When email has taken over as the primary method of communication, traditional modes of discourse still exist. For example, many employers still expect cover letters in addition to resume, and the lack of a thank you note for a gift is often perceived as more than a simple social oversight. An ability to craft these types of documents illustrate an understanding of social expectation and denotes a level of respect or appreciation. While not related to the traditional educational canon, learning to properly write a cover letter or a business letter or a thank you card not only teaches students that these documents exist and are often necessary, but also shows them how to craft such documents, saving them time and energy in the future. For the wrap up,
Social literacy concerns itself with the development of social skills, knowledge, and positive human values that enable human beings to act positively and responsibly of complex social settings. Next is social skills range from the ability to initiate, maintain, and end a conversation to reading social signals to more complex skills such as solving problems and resolving conflict.
The modern age calls for young professionals to develop situational awareness and social intelligence in both technological and traditional communication to succeed in their academic and career endeavor. Peers and schools play a formative role in the social skill development of children.
Thank you for listening. God bless.